Abstinence makes the priest grow stranger. In a recent opinion piece written for the Toronto Star by Michael Corin, the issue of celibacy in the Roman Catholic clergy is examined. Corin recounts his personal experience with Franciscan priest Father Bruce Ritter, founder of Covenant House Shelters for Homeless Teenagers, who was compelled to resign amidst accusations of improper contact with young men. Corin tells how Ritter, who died in 1999, had become extremely difficult to deal with and that he had refused to meet with any of the home's young ladies, claiming that females made him uncomfortable. He further recounts how the priest's underlings defended his poor behavior with deference. Corin suggests that these attitudes paired with the policy of celibacy for priests is a recipe for disaster. Said Corin, the culture of enforced celibacy and, forgive me, sexual immaturity is profoundly damaging. He added that we mingle this with clericalism, a reverence towards the ordained that prevents criticism, a vehemently all-male and anti-democratic authority structure, and a powerful self-defense mechanism. It leads to all kinds of problems. Remember, abuse is not only sexual. Bathroom nightmares. On March 15th, the city of Kokomo in Indiana passed a bill banning discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity, which the mayor promptly signed. The bill passed Common Council by a vote of 5-4 as a direct response to the state's failure to pass comprehensive LGBT protections when it had the chance. In advance of the vote, city religious leaders gathered for a rally at Mount Pisgah Baptist Church to pray for the failure of the bill. The rally was covered by a reporter named Kara Ball for the Kokomo Tribune. Several commenters found her reporting one-sided, and it has failed to present the voice of many supporters of the bill, choosing instead to focus on a spurious argument about people of opposite genders sharing bathrooms. However, the council invited 18-year-old Kokomo High School trans student Alexander Dean to address the council, where Dean said, "I just want to know why you guys think we're going to be predators, seeing how the bathroom is our worst nightmare." Save the date. A few months ago, it was announced that Mother Teresa is going to be officially canonized into sainthood. One might think that means she's a saint as soon as the decision is made. However, there's actually a ceremony involved in which the church apparently plans to take maximum advantage of. So, with that marketing aspect of the process in mind, the Pope has announced Teresa will be officially indoctrinated into the College of Saints on September 4th of this year, 19 years to the day following her death. This is much faster than normal, but it's not unexpected, as Pope John Paul II had fast-tracked the process less than a year after her passing when he beatified her in 2003. Of course, not everybody is a fan of Teresa's methods in life. In fact, one of her greatest detractors was the also deceased Christopher Hitchens. Other critics include the British medical journal The Lancet and a recent Canadian academic study which wrote of her that she had a, quote, rather dubious way of caring for the sick, her questionable political contacts, her suspicious management of the enormous sums of money she received, and the overly dogmatic views regarding, in particular, abortion, contraception, and divorce. A Marriage of Inconvenience. A recent essay written by Monsignor Charles M. Mangan for the website Catholic.org examined the question of how a married couple who had undergone a surgical technique intended to result in permanent and deliberate sterilization, such as tubal ligation or vasectomy, and who had then reconsidered and wished to rejoin the Catholic communion in full compliance with the restriction on contraception, might reconcile. Mangan cites authors Germaine G. Grisez and John F. Kipley, who argue that since willful sterilization involves self-mutilation and the conscious subversion of God's will, a contrite confession after the fact is insufficient to absolve the sinfulness inherent in the opted surgical sterilization. According to the authors cited and the narrator of the essay, it's impossible to receive pardon for a sin if one continues to enjoy that sin's fruit. So what can one do? Quote, "The person who regrets having been sterilized must develop a true sorrow for A, the initial sin of sterilization, and B, subsequent sins of sterilized intercourse. The solution they offer is a simple one: complete abstinence until the wife is past menopause."